Hello everyone. I hope my audio is hearable. I have my car running because it's like ridiculously hot out. It's 96 right now. It's supposed to go up to like 102. I live in New England, by the way. It's like I live in Arizona. And the heat index is like 107 or something. But I can't find my AirPods because I just flew back from Cleveland yesterday and I was hoping to just have the audio go through my car. And it's plugged in, but my car is 10 miles away from hitting 150,000 miles and the audio is not working. So hopefully I actually have audio. Anywho, so I'm pulled over after having gone to Newton Wellesley today to see my gynecologist. At a moment, and I feel like I need to have a hard cry, but that's not happening just right now. And pretty much whenever I leave Newton Wellesley, like I pull over and I go to this little spot next to it, and so I can just sit and vlog, not while I'm driving. Like you can see the trees aren't moving. So the reason why I went to Newton Wellesley today to see my gynecologist is because I got a yeast infection. Now, like back in the day, that wouldn't be such a big deal, but I haven't had a yeast infection and I don't even know how long. Anyway, I went to the grocery store and got like a 7-day monostat thing, and I used it, but it still wasn't going away. And then people were on vacation and stuff, so they just gave me a prescription strength, like monostat 7 kind of thing. So I'm on day 6 of that. Tonight's my last night using it, and I feel better. But I'm like, it's just kind of weird. Like, why all of a sudden would I have a yeast infection, and one that a monostat 7 wouldn't be able to just take care of? This is all about, well, I don't really know what this is about. It's a timestamp. I don't have cancer down south. I don't think. The ultrasound today showed that I don't, as far as she could see. But I was not expecting to have an ultrasound today. So a 20-minute ultrasound, internal and external, left me in tears because anxiety, and because why do you have to do an ultrasound for 20 fucking minutes? That's a long time for an ultrasound. Anyway, rewinding, I am on tamoxifen. I've been on tamoxifen for like 3.5 years, I guess. In a couple weeks, I hit my 4-year anniversary. It's not the right word. And I don't like when they say like cancerversary. It's just stupid. Like, it shouldn't be a fun play on words for such a fucking god-awful disease, diagnosis, whatever the fuck it is. I'm angry. I'm angry and like I'm sad and I'm scared. And I'm sick of being angry and sad and scared. Anyway, I'm 53, just to put that out there. I got a fist pump from my gynecologist because she said as of December, when basically when my last appointment with her was, I haven't had a period. I didn't have a period since I started Lupron injections, but those ended like 1.5 years ago, and then I've gone like a solid year without having a period after that. So now I'm in like regular menopause too. So I got to go through menopause twice. Whoop-de-doo. So she gave me a fist pump for that. Like I said, the tamoxifen I think is what's I'm hoping the tamoxifen is what's causing all the issues. There's a thing with tamoxifen where you get like this discharge. It doesn't smell. It's not like, it literally just looks like clear liquid. It's not pee. Like I said, there's no odor. There's no odor. There's nothing weird. Like, it's just this clear shit that comes out of, that clear liquid that comes out of you. But the thing is, it's been getting worse over time. So like I started just wearing a panty liner, and I thought like, well, I'm in menopause, so now I don't have to wear tampons or pads or any of that, you know. I was an ambulance. I'm by hospital. But now I do have to wear those things because of the fucking tamoxifen. So I started by just wearing, I don't edit these, and I just say it like it is. So whatever. Because I know, like, if there's people going through the same thing, I want to make sure that, like, I provide some sort of comfort and humor and relatability. Again, I'm not a medical doctor, none of that. I'm just sharing what I'm going through in order to take some of the fear away if you have the same thing. So anyway, I started with the panty liner years ago with the tamoxifen, and then I went up to like just regular always pads, and then they weren't even cutting it. So I started my hot flash medications. I've been on gabapentin for quite some time, well, really since surgery, to control the hot flashes, but it seemed like they weren't really working anymore because I was getting more of them, and they were getting more intense. So they started me on Celexa, which I guess is an SSRI, but there's something about Celexa that helps control hot flashes. So my hot flashes aren't gone, but they're different. They're not as bothersome as they were before. So it's great that that's working. And as a side bonus, like I feel much more like myself in general. Like the fog that you're kind of in from tamoxifen really isn't there anymore. So I'm happy to have that. And it's interesting because for years I tried a variety of SSRIs and SNRIs, and none of them worked for me. Like it just made me into like a freaking raving lunatic, and I had to stop taking it within a couple of days. So it's interesting now that like after cancer, I don't know, I guess I could take them because they've been working fine. The downfall is that I've noticed, I think I've been on Celexa for like 2 months. I know I've gone through 2 bottles, so about 2 months. And I've noticed that the discharge from the tamoxifen has increased to the point where, like, you know, it feels like you pee your pants all the time. I'm switching out the pads more often, and I'm like, is this normal? Should this be a thing? And then when I got the yeast infection, I'm like, well, it makes sense. If I had this fucking discharge, it's increasing. It makes sense to get a yeast infection, even if I'm switching out my pads and stuff. Like, all this shit shouldn't happen. Like, you know, you lose your boobs, you have all this fucking bullshit with infusions and all this stuff. Sorry, I'm having my moment now. And, like, it should be done. Like, people just think, you know, you have your mastectomy and, like, you're good. You know, so what? You're on tamoxifen. Everyone's on tamoxifen after breast cancer. Not everybody. But, like, everything's fine. And it's just nuts because it's 4 years. And granted, it's nothing major, but, like, it's not fine. I'm just so angry and frustrated because I just want, like, a fucking pass where, like, nothing is, like, health-wise is going on. I'm just so tired of it. I'm so tired of it. I just want things to be, like, quiet and peaceful and, like, no drama. I'm so over it. So I just had to have my moment because I knew it was coming. I'm so sick of it. So they were supposed to take my blood pressure before I left because it was high when I was there. I haven't had like an outburst vlog in a while, and my neuropathy, like in my fingers, it's just one more thing. Like, why does one, the neuropathy in my fingers, like, they feel like numb sometimes, and I don't know if that's a it is a side effect of meds, and it's also related to lymph nodes and all that shit. I'm just so tired of all this fucking bullshit. I'm glad that I can be helpful for people out there, but I'm so sick of, like, having to pull over to share stuff. I don't want to have there be a need to share anything. Because I thought I was just going in today and she'd do an internal exam and be like, just finish your last day of the cream and then you'll be good. And instead, she's like, here's our plan of action. You need to have an ultrasound. All right, so, and I'm hungry. So, I was out of town this past weekend. I was at a friend of mine, her dad passed, so I was out of town. And I said, like, I don't want there to be something bigger going on. So I asked if I could see my gynecologist before I left. But with the summer, and then it was Juneteenth, like, people just weren't around. And they're like, do you want to see, like, so-and-so doctor? I'm like, no. I guess you get a pass, you know, when you have had a cancer diagnosis. Because she's like, well, we have so-and-so and so-and-so. I'm like, listen, I have a fucking cancer history. This is who I'm seeing. And I don't care, like, you know, if she's there, I'll take 15 minutes of her time. Which ended up being like an hour, but whatever. But once you throw out there that, like, you have a cancer history, they take you a bit more seriously. So, like, fuck it. If I need to use that card, I'll use that fucking card. So I flew back last night and then got in this morning, which I'm grateful for. I don't know why I'm holding this so high. I could just lean it on the card. So I go in, and there's this there's this little nurse. I only mean little because she's young, and she's asked me these questions and shit, and I'm like, I get everyone's, like, you know, they gotta learn the ropes, whatever. But when they say stuff to you, and it's like, I know you've learned all this shit in school, but, like, I have lived all this shit. So, like, no, this is the way it is. Not like your little, oh my God. I don't do perky. Like, I don't like perky people. Because she said to me, she's like, well, you can keep your dress, because I'm wearing a dress, like a one-piece dress. And she's like, you can keep your dress on. And I'm like, no. Because if she needs to do anything like, you know, like an ultrasound, I'm like, I don't want fucking jelly all over me. So I'd rather change out. Well, and then she's told me all the reasons why I don't need to fucking, I'm like, give me a fucking Johnny and let me just go about my business and not fucking ruin my dress because I have to go to work right now. Oh my God, it was so fucking annoying. I'm like, you can say all you want to fucking say. I'm like, I feel like I'm going to be in the other room for an ultrasound, so can you just fucking listen to me? Sorry, I'm sorry, not sorry. I'm so mad. I'm so mad, like, at the world right now. Like, just give me a fucking break and, like, give me the goddamn Johnny. Sorry, God. And I'm like, why are we having a discussion back and forth about this? Oh, God. Anyway. So eventually she stopped, and I put the fucking Johnny on. So I looked inside, and she's, you know, everything looked fine on her end, which was great. And then I mentioned to her how, like, I adore my gynecologist, by the way. She is the one who basically, she ordered the test for me to have my baseline MRI, which was what caught my cancer. She was the one who realized something was going on, and asked me when I was married, she's like, do you have multiple partners? Because whatever was going on with me, she's like, usually we see that when people have multiple partners. I'm like, no, I've been married for 15 years. There's no multiple partners going on. Apparently there was, not on my part, but anyhow, that's not what this vlog is about. I've been fine, by the way, with that. I've been happily divorced for 10 years. Anyway. So what she could see, everything looked fine, but there are other missing pieces that you can't, like, see, you know, unless you do scanning. So she said, let's do an ultrasound. Fine. So I assumed it would be a vaginal ultrasound, because I've had them many times before. But just walking in that room, I wasn't upset when I first walked into the room, because I'm like, I even said to the gynecologist, I'm like, well, if I have cervical cancer or something, let's just plow it out and get going with whatever the fuck I need to be doing. You know, I was very, like, transactional about the whole thing. Like, there was not really emotion. So I go in the ultrasound room, and I'm just waiting for them to, like, measure tumors and whatever fucking bullshit goes along with it. So I sit back, get my pillow all comfy while she's, jams this. I meant to take a picture of it, but I didn't. You can Google what a freaking wand looks like. Not that kind of wand, the wand that goes inside of you when you have a vaginal, like inside ultrasound. Then it's like a microphone. They just like go all the way around, see all the different parts, and then she pushes down on one side so she can get a good picture of my ovary. And I'm hoping my ovary's still shriveled up from the Lupron. And then she pushes the other side, and she's like, well, there's some stuff I can't see. Apparently, and again, I'm not a doctor, so please don't quote me on any of this stuff. The tamoxifen fucks up the inside of your uterus. Because my gynecologist like kind of forewarned me that like not to be super alarmed, because like that's just what tamoxifen does. Whether it stays like that forever, I have no idea. But she's like, I wouldn't be surprised if the inside of your uterus looks all like weirdo, because the tamoxifen does that. Not that it causes a problem, because like obviously I'm in menopause, I'm not bleeding or anything, but it does that. So, like, I assumed she's going to take more time to do pictures, whatever. I was kind of annoyed because you look up, and all I'm focusing on is the panels on the ceiling and where the intersections are, and, like, where are there seams? Where are there not seams? How many dots are there on the vent? Because, like, there's no pretty picture of the ocean or whatever like they usually have. Because ultrasounds like that usually shouldn't be lasting very long. My ultrasound took 19 minutes. That's a long time for an ultrasound. So she finished the internal stuff, and she didn't feel like she saw what she needed to see. So then she did an external one. External ones are fun when you're pregnant because you get to see a baby. I don't know what she's looking at, but she's going back and forth. And the weird thing is, I don't remember if I did a vlog on this or not, but like the weight, whatever about the weight at this point. But my lower belly is like starting to fold over to the point that when it's so hot like this, it gets like irritated. But I said it's kind of weird because when I've gained weight in the past, that's not where I gain weight to have like a fold like that. It's just like, one big thing, like my neck. I don't have folds. It's just like I have, this, and I have like that, and by my stomach, which is menopause and meds. But that whole area was where she was focusing for so long, back and forth, pushing, like back and forth, and typing and typing and typing, and I know she's typing in numbers and she's not saying anything. And there's this weird thing when you have tests like that where like they can't tell you stuff. They're not supposed to tell you stuff. Like, she's the sonographer. I think it's the radiologist who has to technically read her pictures, and then they give the report to the gynecologist, and then she, comes back to me to tell me what the results are. There's like a flow of stuff. But like, I know I can't ask her because she's not supposed to be answering me with like what's going on. But the longer she's typing, I'm like, she's typing in numbers. She's typing in tumors. How many fucking tumors are there? I know I have fibroids, but I only have 2 that were really measurable to follow. And she's just like typing and typing and typing. And then after a while, after the typing, the tears just like, I can be a quiet crier. I don't want to make a big deal, but I can feel the tears just like welling and dripping down the side of my face. And I'm trying to just like breathe through it. And like, it doesn't necessarily mean anything, but of course, like, it's not a good thing to have stuff that they even have to measure. So it just went on for a long time. 20 minutes is a long time to have an ultrasound. And then it also came back to me like afterwards, or as she was finishing up, that I'm like, when I found out I had breast cancer, I was at that hospital so like all day, from 8 a.m. to like 3 p.m. And I was only expecting the appointment to be like a half an hour, and it went like an hour and a half. And I'm like, are they gonna have me do other tests to the point that I'm here all day? And of course, that then concerns me that something's really wrong, because that's what happened when I was here for all the testing when I found out I had breast cancer. And then in my head, I'm thinking like, I'm 53, I'm not having more kids, I'm like, menopause is done. and this is me like just jumping way further ahead than what I need to, but just go with it. I'm thinking, you know, take my uterus out. Why do I need it? I don't need it. Take my ovaries out. Do what you need to do. I don't really care. The only thing I care about is that I don't want it to fuck up my Africa trip this fall. Anyway, I gotta get moving because I gotta get to work. So when she finished and stuff, I cleaned myself up because that, you know, stuff that they put on you, like the KY or whatever the hell it is. Cleaned myself up, got dressed and stuff. My hair actually doesn't look super bad, being that it's like ridiculously humid out. Look at those pretty curls. Don't I have pretty curls? I gotta focus on the good, people. I found this necklace too that was my mom's. I don't remember her ever wearing it, but it was with her stuff. Unless she stole it from someone. So the gynecologist, the sonographer didn't tell me like really anything at all. Except when I started crying, and then, like, not a hard cry, a very, like, quiet cry, but she noticed and she gave me some, like, paper towels. I'm like, that's paper towels. You don't have tissues in here? Anyway, the gynecologist came back in, and I said to her, like, is this where you tell me I have cervical cancer? And she's like, no, no, no. She can't give me too many details as to what it is, because obviously she's got to look more closely at the results of the ultrasound. But she said part of the reason why it took so long is because there's so much stuff in the way with like fibroids and whatever those things are that tamoxifen does to your uterus, that it's hard to see if there's something else going on. So because it's hard to see, you know what makes things really easy to see? An MRI. And I'm like, you know what? Like it's fine. I would rather her do an MRI and like rule out shit or find out what the fuck is going on. But I'm like, I'm going in for an MRI on Friday. I'm like, can it just be a one-stop shop? And she's like, no, because it's a breast MRI where you're laying on your stomach and your boobs go through these two stupid fucking hole things. And she's like, no, it has to be a separate MRI. Great. So, I mean, I'm glad that she's checking. She was just acting a little weird, which I didn't like. But what can I do? Nothing. Right now, what I can do is go get Starbucks because I want brie and crackers and oatmeal. I can't, there's nothing to do right now but wait. And waiting fucking blows. But there's nothing I can do but wait. She was just acting weird, and I said when I went to check out, there's other stuff that they're doing too. Like there's some med I'm taking that's another story, but it's like a one pill thing to see what's going on. But the MRI needs to happen, and it's all just like, what's today? Today's like June 20. It's the end of June, not like the very, very end of June. Like there's like a week left of June. And July 9th was the day I was diagnosed. So of course that's triggering, you know, and that's why I have all these doctor appointments. And now I have more just because I happen to have this fucking ass stupid fucking yeast infection. But you know, if a yeast infection is going to tell me something else is wrong, then like, so be it. I don't know. My hand's falling asleep, so I'm going to go. My vlogs are so far behind, but I've actually, like, when I upload them and they are so far behind, obviously I've learned a lot more, like the 6 months that they're far behind. So I've been deleting a lot of the vlogs that I have where I'm like, oh my gosh, there's something up, because then I find out later on it's nothing, and I just delete them because, like, there's no point in getting freaked out over nothing. You know, this isn't like one of the support group things that you find on like social media where everyone's is like, you know, doom and gloom. That's not what I want these vlogs to be. Sometimes it is doom and gloom, and sometimes it's not. So I'm you know, just trying to keep it real, and anyway. So yeah, so hopefully by the time I actually upload this, I'll be like, ha ha ha, remember when that happened, Jen? It was annoying few weeks because you had so many doctor's appointments, but you're just fine and dandy. Maybe I won't have a uterus by the time I post this. I have no idea. One step at a time, one foot in front of the other. You have to be in the present. I got my cry out. I needed to do that. I probably will have another one when I hang up with y'all. I have a cool tattoo on my wrist. Just breathe. and one step at a time. You know, like keep the thoughting needs to like just reel it in, because nothing's like a thing until it's a thing. So I just have to wait to hear from her and see what, you know, what's going on and what the next steps are. All right. That's all. I'll keep you posted. Bye.